they sleep most of it through, and yeah, they don't do a whole lot when the snow comes.
I think Tasha's now been in her den since Saturday, probably Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Saturday or Sunday they last saw her out sunning herself, and we haven't seen her since.
And I know Ted, we've been feeding, gave him a little bit yesterday, but he really isn't interested in eating right now. We were in there today doing some pine tree trimming so that you guys can see really well when the heavy snow starts coming. It won't lower those branches down. But Ted's been pretty much staying put, hasn't he?
Yeah, actually, when we were in there today, he didn't even get up to come ask for some food. And Ted, that's one thing you can always count on with him.
So yesterday was pretty much our last day of giving him a snack. Are we going to give him a few grapes today?
I think we were going to give him a few grapes today later on in the afternoon.
Okay, what time are we thinking that would be?
Probably around 2 o'clock.
Around 2 o'clock today, we're going to give him his last grape meal if he wants to eat it, correct?
Correct. We got some apples left, but grapes, and we're just going to get rid of the grapes, and we'll put the apples to use on the trail.
Okay, and then we got, of course, Tasha that's in her own Doug Den. We just talked about her. And then Lucky and Holly have stayed put in theirs, definitely.
Yeah, me and John were up there taking care of hoses, and they didn't even poke their heads out to see what was going on. No matter how much noise we made, they did not care. So they're ready to be done for the year.
It was kind of fun watching those guys drag those hoses. We waited a little longer than we should have, and they were full of ice. And if anybody knows, garden hoses don't bend too good when they're full of ice and water. But, we've got an important date come up. We'll do a little bit of a gear switch here, and that is Give to the Max Day. And we want you to save that date, and that is November 14th. Is it?
November 14th. Save the date.
And we're really excited about that date. That is our biggest fundraiser single day overall. We've got some wonderful fundraisers out there that help us greatly to do the things that we can do here, but that is a big one. And we know this year we're going to go really enjoy it because we're going for the bear enclosures, and we're going to be doing stuff for our 4 bears, correct?
Correct, and it's a really fun day here at the Bear Center as well for Give to the Max Day.
And I think one of our moderators is going to help me out a little bit. We got a company that we're working with called CLD Manufacturing. They make zoo fencing, and I talked with John today. And hi, John, if you're out there, I know you're watching, you guys, but we want to just have Liz, if she could, if she's the moderator, zoom in on our fence back here, right at this entrance and this wire electrical fence right here. If you could zoom in and run that cam kind of around for them. We're actually having a working broadcast day. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And for all you out there watching, you can see that we're working on stuff. John and I talked this morning for about 40 minutes, and he's sending us some pictures. He's sending us a fence sample, and we're putting together some different things. I sent him about 11 pictures today, and we're going to be going back and forth. And it's a great company. Their manufacturing is done in the UK. And for all you interns out there watching that are from the UK, you better come up over here. Watching from the UK, they manufacture it there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until now, but it's nice that they're willing to send that stuff over to us and get that stuff done, because we are looking like we're going to have some nice fencing, and it'll be nice and new for next year.
Well, we have the company that we're talking with right now. We got highly recommended from other places, other zoos in different areas, and CLD is located. It's not CLD that's located in Virginia, in the United States, but their company does, and they represent that CLD product. And their fencing is very, very nice, very good looking, functional for the bears. Ultimately, in the long run, with this fencing, we could do away with our electric fencing, which would really be nice for the bears.
And why do we have to get rid of why would we get rid of the electric fencing if we have this new stuff? What's different about it?
Well, the design of the fencing, Spencer's question was, why can we get rid of the electric fencing with this new fence? Because the fence is a little bit climbable, but it's got an angle to the top of it that allows the safety for the bears so that they cannot get out of the fencing. They'd have to climb up backwards. Yet it looks very, very nice. And for those of you who want to take a peek at that fencing, go on the CLD website, and you can take a look at some of the zoo fencing. And if you dig around in there, you won't necessarily see the fencing we're going to get, or we're talking about, because it's a smaller diameter fencing for better view and such. But I have asked John and his crew that's out there, the engineers or whoever's watching today, to take a look at this other fencing right here with the fiberglass posts. And we want to get this beautified and made better so that the bears don't have to maybe deal with too much electric fencing.
Yeah, and we have to switch this one off every time we come out here just to make sure when they do come up for the treats, they don't accidentally get zapped or something like that. And we won't want that for the bears, obviously. So making this area nicer and more functional is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing is this gate right behind us here. We got a double gate that's in the entrance for when they have to do work back in the enclosure itself. And then we'll have the fencing going up to the bear enclosures, and then all the bear enclosures will be re-fenced with this same fencing, and we'll have a behind-the-scenes friendly protective bar fencing in front of that, about 3 feet away from the fencing where the interns and bear educators and our bear keeper Sharon and Judy and all them go and feed the bears and do different chores. We want it so it's user-friendly for everybody. And but mainly we want it user-friendly for our bears. The enclosure we've got today, they work wonderful. They really do. But the beauty behind it is we've got some new designs out there that are helping us to make it even better, correct?
Yes, and I understand not only will it benefit the bears, but it will also benefit our behind-the-scenes tour and our guests so they can see the bears and those behaviors better.
Yes, that is true. And also, we talked about, you bury a partial part of the fence because you need that protection so we don't have to do electric on the ground or around the bottom of the base of the enclosures or the large enclosure itself, which would be nice.
So that way they cannot dig underneath, correct?
That is true. And, when we take a look at what we're doing, the fencing and the stuff we've got now, it's been here ever since the opening of the North American Bear Center, pretty close to that. And I got to tell you, it's done a fabulous job. It really has. And, when you hear us talk about safety for bears, it's not that it's ever been unsafe. It's that it can be safer, correct?
Yes, we want it to be as safe as possible. And now that the Bear Center's been here for a while, we have some safer options out there that we'd like to explore.
Yes, and, I want to just introduce Spencer. Spencer's our in-house biologist. He runs a lot of the programs here. So, Spencer and my name is Scott. I'm director here, and we just want to say thank you for everything that you guys do out there for us. And that Give to the Max program is just huge. And I know Judy Thone and Sharon and Spencer and I are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be live on Facebook at certain times, scheduled times that we'll be posting. And then we're going to be also live on this cam on our live events, correct?
Correct. We're going to do a lot of live broadcasting in that 24 hours. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. It's a day that wears you out in a good way. And I know it can get pretty emotional by the end of the evening. Last year when we hit that $42,000 mark, wow, that was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. We had a decent amount of guest stars last year, and I think we're scheduled for a few more this year.
Yeah, I even heard a little bit of a rumor that Bouncing Bear might make it back. He's not easy to get. He or she is a traveler, right?
Yeah, and he or she is booked quite heavily, so we'll have to see if we can make that work.
Yeah, well, he bounces all around to get to different events. So, Bouncing Bear is Bouncing Bear, but you're going to have to dial in for that. But, we just wanted to give you a little bit more of an idea of the company that we're visiting with and talking to and, looking at the different things that they have done and checking their background before even talking to them, nothing but positives. And that's what we like to hear from facilities that have people and animals. And they want both of them taken care of good, right?
Exactly. We want to be able to have our guests observe those behaviors that the bears have so they can learn directly from them. We want our bears to have the best possible enclosure that they can have.
And we also want to say thank you to everybody out there for supporting us throughout this season. This year, you notice that we have drained our pond. If Liz can take the camera over to the pond real quick, you won't see Spencer and I, which is probably okay. Boy, she is really responsive. Look at that cam go. That's another really cool thing we've got, ain't it?
No, it's really cool. She was right on top of that.
And, Custom Theaters of Ely has installed those cams. And for the most part, other than our web speed or if we lose power up here in the end of the road, those cams are pretty darn, they're pretty darn steady, are they not?
Yeah, and Ely Custom Theaters have done a good job so that, we don't have to do any messing around on our part. They're always up. When the power comes back up, they go back up. So.
Or when we lose internet, they usually come back up. On occasions, we have a little bit of a glitch. But if you'll take a look right now at this pond that we had redone last year, you'll see that it's drained out. There is silt in the bottom of it. And that is from runoff from the sides from construction and the air. You know, the air carries dust and particles in it that drop into the pond. It's got a lot of leaves in it. We had to drain it down because it's got some valves that go into that center filtering area. It's actually not a filter. It's more of a water filter basin. It doesn't actually have filters in it, but it's an intake, and it protects the bears from getting sucked up by the hoses. But ultimately, that is lower than the pond itself. The water drains into it. We can pump it right out into the back. This year, we had to kind of use another auxiliary pump to get the water out, too, because we wanted it to go a little faster than it did because it was cool out. But at the same time, we're able to see how our brand-new pond that was constructed this last spring, thanks to all you out there that made donations to give to the Max and other donations, the pond has held up quite well. We're going to go through a winter with it. We're going to allow it to fill up naturally this fall and through the winter. And then next spring we'll be taking and cleaning it. Not real heavy do we want to clean it because we want to leave that silt and mud base kind of in there for bacteria, correct?
Yeah, we want some good natural bacteria growth to be in the pond.
And, you know, talking to a biologist directly, we can ask you, what does that do for a pond?
A lot of things, but for the most part, it just keeps it healthy for the bears. If you have a stagnant area like that doesn't allow good cycle of all kinds of nutrients, you're going to get some buildup that you don't want, and we don't want our bears in that. So having a good cycle in the pond is going to be helpful for the bears.
So what it ultimately does is it supplies good bacteria and a place for it to live. The surface of the pond does it itself, but with the alkalinity of cement being so high, it's hard for bacteria to grow on a high pH surface. So what it does is the silt allows the good bacteria to be in there, which is, it creates nitrous ammonias. We know about those, right? And what do those do? Stump the biologist. What it does is it in turn changes the ammonia to a good solid. Well, ultimately what it does is it keeps the ammonia level down in the pond, which is urine from bears, urine from different animals, or amphibians or reptiles or whatever it may be, correct? And I'm having fun with Spencer because he didn't know I was going to talk about that stuff. But, the funny thing is when we take a look at it, our pond is heavily aerated from the falls. So it gives it a good level of bacteria itself, correct? But as you all probably noticed throughout the sun of the pond, which is very normal, it's got to do that, correct?
Correct.
I like those one-word answers. And what in turn it does is as this cures, it will become a little bit more of a neutral base. It could even go a little acidic, but ultimately it's a good life and a good place for bacteria to grow and keep the pond crystal clear in the future. We just had to have a little fun with it this year to keep it somewhat balanced, didn't we?
Yeah, we had to do some additions and trying to keep those things balanced, just like we would have to do in the fish tank inside, but it's a little harder because it's a little out of our control with being exposed to the outside environment.
So we had a lot of fun telling you about that. And the other thing is if you take a look at the enclosure itself in the front area here, our runoff was really good. We didn't have any floods with heavy rains, which we would have in the past. Our clover's been growing good. Our wildflowers, you guys planted those wildflowers with the interns, right?
Yeah, and they look very beautiful this fall. Some of them we weren't expecting to pop up quite yet, but we had nice weather for it, and they looked really nice around the pond.
They did. So, things are happening here at the North American Bear Center. And again, we just want to say thanks to all you out there because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do it. And I know Dr. Lynn Rogers would be saying the same thing if he was here, but he's at his little cubby at the Wildlife Research Institute working hard on some papers again, correct?
Yeah, papers, his book, whatever he's working on out there, he's got a lot to do. So he needs that time to get out there and work. But I think he's going to be around for Give to the Max Day, so we'll get to see him then.
Oh, he will be, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that day. He's always fun to have here, and his wife, Donna Rogers, is fun to have here. It just amazes me sometimes when I walk around the North American Bear Center, and I think years and years back, this was just a thought, an idea that he had, and look at it today.
It's pretty magnificent.
And it's thanks to everybody out there and everybody that's been here at the Bear Center. We really want to thank our volunteers, our cashiers, our bear educators, our interns, our staff, our board, all the people out there across this country and world that help us out. That we can't even begin to say thank you, can we?
No, not really. The list is far too great.
Did you ever expect when you started working here that it was as big as it is?
No, it's definitely not what I expected.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that help us out, and just this morning we had our Give to the Max meeting, and we got a great group there. Every single group that we've got helps out a lot, and we want to say thank you to you out there. And our PTZ moderators and operators, our chat moderators, thank you. And thanks to all of the people that help the North American Bear Center, our contractors that help us out, give us good pricing, and work with us. That's another thing you always tend to forget. The gentleman that's going to be helping us plow the lot this winter. That's nice, ain't it?
Yeah.
We thank our biggest stars, our 4 Bears, correct?
Correct. They're the center of attention here.
They really are, and you really kind of, you don't kind of miss them, you miss them. You miss seeing them, you miss hearing Ted's grunts, you miss watching Tasha make her little noises. I miss hearing Sharon make her noises to Tasha and to Ted. And Judy makes a really good Ted sound, and we'll probably get her to do that during the broadcast at Give the Max. What do you think? Do you think Judy will do that?
We're going to find out.
But, and it just adds to the fun. I just want to say again, thanks to our interns. We're hoping our last 3 interns, even Abby and Tara, all made it home safe. We hope you're watching or wherever you're at right now. And we also want to thank our summer interns too, and our interns last year and the year before that, and on and on and on. But those interns are just a ball of energy, and they're fun to have around. Fountains of knowledge, help out just a ton. And then I got to go back to our bear educators. We actually had Uber here. Oh wait, it was Ubel. I called her Uber because that's kind of what they pick you up. Ubers. Yeah.
It's a car service.
But all of our bear educators, and I just pick on Mary because she's just always fun to pick on. But every one of our bear educators, wow, what would we do without them?
We need a lot more staff here. Is what we would need.
We would. And that's just it right there. We got a skeleton small staff. Lynn talks about it. And without the assistance of our volunteers, and all of you out there, and one of our highest paid volunteers, Judy Thone, and she is extremely highly paid. We want to say thanks to you and your group of interns, bear educators. Sharon, same thing. If I'm missing anybody out there, I'm not meaning to, but I can tell you right now, I'm not saying names because I want to make that individual the most important one, but it's just my mind and my age it comes to me. So there's just so many across the board. And just the people that live up here that support us in the community that are watching, we thank you for that too. Anything else we want to touch on?
Just want to make sure that everyone got that date, November 14th, to save the date for Give to the Max Day.
What date?
November 14th.
November 14th is the day. We're going to sign off now with our last Wednesday live broadcast. But again, thank you. Thank you very much, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye now.